The 5 backgammon strategies pros use. You're playing backgammon without a plan, just reacting to dice rolls and pushing checkers forward, while your opponent looks like they're executing a strategy you can't see. The secret is that every winning player is choosing between 5 specific strategies based on one number, the pip count, which tells you whether you're ahead or behind in the race. Master that one concept and the 5 strategies it unlocks, and your next game will feel like you're playing with purpose instead of just rolling dice. The one question that picks your plan. Here's what separates random play from strategic play. Backgammon is a race. Pure and simple, whoever gets their 15 checkers home and off the board first wins. Your position in that race is measured by the pip count, the total number of pips each player still needs to bear off all their checkers, with 15 checkers needing to travel around the full 24 points of the board, which means your opening pip count is 167 for both sides. As the game unfolds, check the pip count regularly by counting your checkers' distance from home. If your pip count is lower than your opponent's, you're ahead in the race and should focus on running. If it's higher, you're behind and need to build a defense. This one number, ahead or behind, determines which of the 5 strategies you're playing. If you're ahead, you run and attack. If you're behind, you block and hold. The running game. The running game is the simplest strategy and the one you use when you're ahead in the pip count. Stop fighting and accelerate the race. Get your checkers home as fast as the dice allow. The critical rule of the running game is avoiding all contact with your opponent's checkers. Don't leave a single checker on a point that they can hit, because getting hit sends you back to the bar and costs you precious tempo in the race you're already winning. Use blocking only to protect your own checkers, not to build walls. Your only job is to clear points as fast as possible and bring all 15 checkers home. If you execute the running game correctly and avoid blots, you'll typically finish the race 10 to 20 pips ahead because your opponent can't slow you down. You control the game, and the race math secures your win. The Blitz. The Blitz is the most aggressive strategy, and you deploy it when you get a lucky opening or inherit a good position. Attack relentlessly by hitting your opponent's blots and building home board points to trap their checkers. The goal of the Blitz is to build a closed board. Every point in your home board, the last 6 points covered by at least 2 checkers, which means when you hit a checker, they can't re-enter until you open a point, and they lose entire turns stuck waiting. The Blitz is high risk because if your aggressive hits don't translate into a closed board by the mid-game, you'll be 30 to 50 pips behind and in trouble. So you only use it when you have the hitting advantage early and confidence you'll finish fast. Priming. Priming is a controlled, mid-game strategy you use when you're behind in the pip count, but need to slow the game down. Build a prime, a wall of 6 consecutive made points, directly in front of your opponent's back checkers so they can't escape. Each point in the prime needs to be made controlled by at least 2 of your checkers, and the wall traps the opponent's back 2 checkers completely. They can't jump out over a 6-point wall no matter what dice they roll, because the highest possible roll is a 6 to 6, which is still 1 point short. Once you've built the prime, slowly push it forward toward your home board 1 or 2 points per roll, keeping the wall intact. Your opponent's back checkers shuffle forward inch by inch behind the wall, and meanwhile you're bringing the rest of your 13 home board checkers home. Priming is a patient strategy, but it's powerful. If you hold the 6-point prime intact through 10 to 15 more rolls, your opponent will have no choice but to break it to avoid falling 50+ pips further behind, and then you're in control of the end game. The holding game. The holding game is what you play when you're behind in the pip count, but the game isn't lost yet. You plant an anchor, 2 checkers on a single point, deep in your opponent's home board, usually on the 20 or 21 point, and hold that ground. Your job is to wait, while your opponent brings their other checkers home. You stay put on the anchor, threatening a big hit. The moment they leave a blot within range of your anchor checkers, You hit them, send them back, and swing the game back in your favor. The holding game works because in the final 15 to 20 rolls of the game, your opponent must unstack checkers and spread their position thin to bear off all 15, which means blots become unavoidable. You're betting on that late mistake. If you get a hit, you've traded 20 pips of deficit into tempo. Your opponent goes back to re-entering and bearing off again, and suddenly the game is close. The back game. The back game is the last resort strategy, used only when you're well behind in the pip count and need a miracle. You deliberately hold 2 or even 3 deep anchors in your opponent's home board, accept the terrible pip count, and bet everything on catching a late double hit to turn the game around. The hardest part of the back game is accepting that you're losing the race and playing for a specific moment in the future. You watch your opponent methodically bring their checkers home, while your back checkers sit frozen, waiting for a window. That window comes in the final 5 to 10 rolls when your opponent has borne off 12 to 14 checkers and is moving the last 1 to 3 home. If you hit them here, you've reset their entire bear off and flipped a 40 to 50 pip deficit into a winnable race. The back game is high variance and timing dependent. If the double hit never comes and your opponent bears off cleanly, you lose decisively because you sacrifice 30 to 40 pips of tempo early. But when the hit arrives, you've turned a game you were down 60 plus pips on into a 5 to 10 pip race with winning chances. Count the pip count after the opening roll, identify if you're ahead or behind, and name which of these 5 strategies you're playing. That single habit will separate your game from casual play faster than any individual tactic. If this made sense, subscribe for more backgammon fundamentals that actually stick.